Community Radio for Southern California.
never cared much for moonlit skies. I never winked back at fireflies. But now that the stars are in your eyes, I'm beginning to see the light. I never went in for afterglow or candlelight on the mistletoe. But now when you turn the lamp down low, I'm beginning to see the light. Used to ramble through the park, shadow boxing in the dark. Then you came and caused a spark that's a forlorn fire now. I never made love by lantern shine. I never saw rainbows in my wine. But now that your lips are burning mine, I'm beginning to see the light.
Go ahead, say it. Alexa, play Voice of Laguna.
She floats like a swan, grace on the water, lips like sugar, lips like sugar. Just when you think you've caught her, she glides across the water. She calls for you tonight to share this moonlight. Flow down her river, she laughs and you give her. It's like
Check, check, check. You got me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We got you. Okay, thanks.
All right.
She knows what you know. I know what she's thinking. Sugar kissing, sugar kissing. Just when you think she's yours, she's flown to other shores. yourself if you are happy, and then you cease to be. That's a tip from you to me.
This is the February 13th, 2024 City Council meeting, and we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance from Mayor Pro Tem Runagi.
To the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please, Anne Marie.
Councilmember Argil.
Here.
Councilmember Weiss.
Here.
Councilmember Whalen.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Renagi.
Here.
Mayor Kemp.
Here. Okay. As we're coming out of closed session, I'll ask our city attorney, is there any reportable action out of closed session?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The City Council convened in closed session pursuant to the 6 items listed on its closed session agenda. With respect to items number 1 and 2, there was no reportable action taken. With respect to item 3, the City Council did not reach that item because it ran out of time. With respect to item 4, the City Council voted 5-0 to file a government claim against South Coast Water District relating to a main break on Sunset. And then with respect to the semi-annual report of pending civil litigation, the City Council ran out of time and did not reach any of those items.
I would just offer that it pursuant to your direction with respect to South Coast Water District, I've already spoken to my counterpart there, and we look forward to working collegially to resolve the matter to our mutual satisfaction on behalf of our taxpayers and their ratepayers.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this time, we will open up for public comment. Anything that's not on the agenda, can you please come forward? Anybody have anything to talk about? Good evening, Joy.
Hello, Madam Mayor and Council. I want to say if it pleased the court, I feel like I'm in that mood. Anyway, I'm Joy Didburner, the Executive Director of the Laguna Dance Festival, and I'm here on behalf for 2 organizations, the Dance Festival and Laguna Beach Art Alliance, which is a 28 nonprofit arts organization. And we invite all of you to come and attend one of our meetings. They're on the 2nd Friday every month at 9 a.m. But first, I'm going to selfishly talk about my own organization. So the Laguna Dance Festival is having its 19th season, And we have 3 great companies coming to dance and perform at the Playhouse. On the 22nd is Black Grace, a free performance for the community for a backstage event. Then Black Grace is on Friday. They are from New Zealand and they're Maori and spiritual and very athletic, and you'll love them. And on Saturday night is LA Ballet, which has a new artistic director, and Black Grace. So you get a little toe, you get a little athleticism. And then on Sunday, it's LA Ballet and Syncopated Ladies, which are the tappers that you might have seen in the news. So I hope you can all come. Now, on behalf of Laguna Beach Art Alliance, I'm asked to stress the need for additional performance space, as well as a cultural arts center for Laguna Beach. I think you've heard this before. But renovations are severely needed for both the Forum Theater and the St. Catharines to make these spaces usable for art space. And since so much of the city's coffers come from what the arts do in this community, I hope you'll seriously consider getting those renovations going and seriously consider coming to the dance festival next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joy.
Hello, Madam Mayor and members of council. My name is Carolyn Keating. I live at Florence Avenue in South Laguna. I have one mini item and then I have a big item. My mini item is I'd like you to consider making the local access thing that goes around available to go over to San Juan train station. I think it would make it a lot easier, those people that are trying to commute up to LA, if they could have that local access go as far as San Juan, the train station. That's the mini item. So the big item is the swimming pool. I swim in the pool every day, and I was here the last time, and I'm really concerned because I've heard through the grapevine that the school district has asked you to give them some feedback on the proposal by March. Nothing has been done in terms of surveying the actual people that use the pool. There was a survey that did community input. I did 4 of them, never heard anything. There's a group of us that swim every day at the pool. I would like actually, instead of building a school pool, that we actually build a community pool down at St. Catharines, and we build it, as I said earlier on, Mr. Joyce can probably talk about it, on the same model as the Pasadena Aquatic Center, where they have an open air pool and they have a pool that's available for people that go through knee surgery, autistic children. It's a very therapeutic pool. I think I'd much rather see that. There's no survey that's been done, and I'm quite prepared to sit outside, but I really have a problem with spending the amount of money available on that. And, you know, the parking's the zoo there. It's a traffic hazard as it is. You can barely get space there, even at the time. The hours are limited, and I really think you're doing a disservice. What I heard is that you basically went and the school district asked the coaches what they want. Well, any coach will tell you we want the best there is. That's not what we need. We need a pool that actually services the people. And as I say, I would recommend a trip up to see the aquatic center, see the actual therapeutic pool. And I believe some of you actually ran on this and got people to vote for you, saying that you would support a second pool. And now I see we have silence. So I'd like to know what's happening. And on behalf of the people that swim there every day, morning, noon, and night when we can. And, you know, Tierney and those did a fantastic job during COVID. It was made available. And I think it's time to actually think of the elderly residents in the community. And that I'd like transparency and know what's happening and to be represented in those decisions.
Thank you.
Hello, Madam Mayor and City Council members. My name is Heather Chalmers and I live at 475 Hillage Drive. There are 2 Torrey pine trees on a steep slope near the property line at 465 Hillage and right next door to my home at 517 Mystic Way, right behind my home, and both trees are a danger to property and life. I'm intensely concerned about one of the trees in particular. It's only 27 feet away from my home and it's 63 feet tall, and it's leaning like the Tower of Pisa over my home. When it falls, it will cause severe damage to my home. These 2 trees are what remained of a stand of 6 trees that were added to the Heritage Tree List in 1985. 3 of those trees have disappeared over the years. and were removed from the property even though there is no record that the city was involved in this matter. A fourth tree fell in 2013 with no warning and caused damage to both homes at 465 Hillage and 517 Mystic. There is no record that the city was involved in this matter. Way back in 2017, I provided the city with an arborist report regarding the decline of the 2 remaining heritage trees. And the report alerted the city about the 4th heritage tree that had fallen and damaged the 2 homes. In 2021, the owners at Hillage applied to remove the 2 hazardous trees from their property. The city refused to consider the matter without a lengthy and expensive review process, and the owners simply sold their home at that time. In July 2023, another arborist determined that under normal environmental conditions, the 2 remaining trees are at risk of probable failure within the next 5 years. After suffering years of drought, there has been abnormal torrential rain, making the soil under the trees unstable and even more unlikely to topple on top of my house, and sooner rather than later. The city received this arborist's alarming report months ago when the current homeowners applied to remove the hazardous trees. They are trying to prevent a tragedy. To recap, 4 heritage trees have disappeared over the years without any documentation or involvement from the city. Please protect our lives and homes by immediately approving the homeowner's application so that they can remove the leaning tree of Pisa towering over my home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, council and staff. My name is Gary Kasich with Sensible Laguna. Happy Fat Tuesday. I assume staff continues to work with the pool subcommittee in preparation for the report out scheduled for March 12th. There are multiple aspects for them to consider, and it's been complicated by the unilateral decision that the school district took to move forward independent of the city. There are a handful of viable options for you to consider, and I hope you look forward to it. At the last council meeting, you spent a considerable amount of time on the challenge of pickleball at Lang and trying to wrestle recreation needs with resident rights into an appropriate balance. Personally, I thought some of the options that were mentioned warranted further review, but the consensus decision was thoughtful and balanced. I thought it was well done. The now active Laguna Beach School project to double the size and triple the capacity of the current pool will have a far greater neighborhood and community impact than pickleball did at Lang. The issues are more pronounced and broader in scope, including not just the noise, but hours of operation, lighting, electronic scoreboards, parking, and all the shared use considerations. Sound attenuation and equipment changes will not be an option. The city and the school district need increased capacity, as you heard tonight. The kids need a pool capable of hosting home games and effective practices. The city needs water for lap swim, recreation, exercise, and the endearing baby pool that's been abandoned by the school district in their proposal and in their plan to go forward. As the city is the majority user of pool capacity, any solution needs to be approached as if it were a city facility. I took the liberty of writing a recent email to council identifying the issues raised at Lang that I thought would be important regarding the pool being constructed by the school district. I felt it would have been inappropriate to send that to staff, but I would hope you find it worthy to forward to them so they include it in the data that they're going to present to you before the March 12th discussion. Any of the advanced work is critical to get right so that the council, when in session, can make a fully informed decision. We can move forward. Sensible Laguna has done a lot of work on user needs and options on this topic. While we do have opinions, we've also accumulated reams of pure data that can help in the staff's assessment. As always, we're willing to share the research, review, or assist directly with staff or any council members. It's critical to have as much data in everyone's hands before the council discussion. There are viable options. They are going to require cooperation and compromise with all vested parties. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, thanks, Gary.
Keep the theme going, I guess. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for your service. I know a lot of people are thinking that, but I just wanted to voice that, give you a few seconds here. My name is Steve Brown. I'm also with Sensible Laguna, also a Laguna Beach resident. We're now just a month away from your scheduled discussions around how the city plans to move forward with a swimming pool, either joining in with the school district or going your own way. Given such a heavy agenda of things tonight, I'm going to keep this brief. The city is responsible for 70% of all activities that happen at the pool and provides nearly all of the funding to cover operating costs, so your voice needs to be heard. Even though your review of this issue has been moving along with haste and is imminent, the school board did not care and voted to move ahead without waiting even a few short months for you to complete your process. What sort of entity ignores their biggest customer? In what seems to be akin to a shocking bullying tactic even, the district has already taken action to redirect $10 million from other educational uses and actively engaged architects to quickly return bids for a $16 million Olympic-sized pool. They aren't waiting for you. The $10 million moved was considered a, quote, time-critical emergency, end quote, but one must wonder if the real emergency was to get ahead of the city and try to force you and publicly pressure you. It is clear from their actions they're pulling out all the stops to begin construction this summer, to try to bully you and to get you to capitulate. Who does that? Throughout their actions, it's clear the district does not care about taxpayer spending, doesn't respect your process, and doesn't want to allow your staff time to finalize your needs and understand the impact of costs, so much so that they have eliminated the baby and waiting pool area. Perhaps they just don't care about these youngest kids because they aren't yet enrolled in the district, or perhaps it is something else. Who knows? We're certain they did not bring this to your attention because as we have reached out to parents with younger children in the community, it's clear none of them have any idea this is happening, and those we've spoken to are clearly very frustrated. As your review process moves along, we will continue to reach out to parents of young children and all interested residents to try to provide ongoing education and raise awareness. The community eagerly awaits your upcoming discussions, and Sensible Laguna stands ready to assist in any way that you would request. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Gary. Anybody else have anything not on the agenda? Okay, come on up.
Good evening. My name is Pat Gallus. I've lived in North Laguna for close to 50 years. I'm here again to speak about property rights and lawsuits that are going on against the city of Laguna. I recently went online. One of our council members has his own personal website and makes comments about what's happening here at the city. And in response to the Kirby project that went through all the way to the state Supreme Court, his comments were 12 words, reported that after 40 months, the Kirby family case has been won. I'd like to elaborate on that a little bit. No, it wasn't against the Kirbys. It was against the city of Laguna for doing what was right for the residents and homeowners of this city. Okay. Went all the way to the state Supreme Court. We ought to give the staff congratulations for work well done. They crossed their, dotted their I's and crossed their T's and did everything appropriate. This is a precedent-setting decision that everyone in this community should get behind. And people need to be aware of it. I've got 15, 20 copies of some comments, and anybody wants to see it, I'd like to give it to them. Again, thank you for your time and your effort, and thank again for the city for doing an outstanding job.
Thanks, Pat.
Good evening. Before I start, I just want to say I want to speak about the promenade in general and has nothing to do with the specific agenda item. If that's acceptable. Okay, with that, I'd like to talk about Mission Creep Laguna style. Mission Creep is a gradual or incremental.
You put the
expansion.
microphone, Chris, a little closer to.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Is the gradual expansion or intervention project or mission beyond its original scope, focus, or goals, spawned by initial success. Usually a failure due to arrogance or hubris in the mission will stop it. However, in this case, the political power structure is such that stopping a creeping mission rarely happens. The promenade is a classic case of mission creep that keeps on creeping, actually galloping with no end in sight. What started out as an attempt to help a few restaurants during the COVID crisis by temporarily closing the prime parking area of Laguna Beach has now morphed into a permanent closure and elimination of a total of 46 or more parking spaces, and giving those 4 restaurants essentially a perpetual lease of dining areas on public property that were there, that were given to them free for 3 years, and now will be charged about 15% of market price of the real estate based on the increase in tax revenue reported by the city. So not only is the city subsidizing these restaurants, but the closure of the parking has caused such a decline in customers for the retail stores in that area that some already are or about to go out of business. Some of these retail stores have been operating for decades and were favorite shopping places for residents, not tourists. But the mission creep is now in full gallop. We are now told that mature trees, some probably nearing 100 years old, need to be destroyed. But an even worse affront, in my opinion, to the residents is the following statement in the OC registers. We want to make the whole street designed for liquor sales where restaurants can serve alcohol without serving to rope areas off. That's you, Mayor. OC Register 12524. In contemplating this mini Bourbon Street, Mayor Kemp, you must be going to turn either all or part of Lower Forest into private property because California law does not permit containers in public places, open containers in public places. But even if you could turn Lower Forest into a mini Bourbon Street, you obviously did not think of the increase in drunken drivers resulting from such a change. Just imagine a 4th of July weekend with hundreds of revelers drinking in Lower Forest area. Laguna Beach already has the highest number of DUIs of the 101 cities that are in our population group. For every DUI arrest, 20 drivers are not caught. The only beneficiaries of this ill-conceived scheme would be to those serving those establishments serving alcohol in Lower Forest, and perhaps to those politicians receiving support from them. Thank you very much.
Anybody else want to speak on anything not on the agenda this evening? Okay, come on up.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ryan Miller, and I've got a couple slides. There we go. Next slide, please. Perfect. Good evening. I'd like to discuss the Dish Wireless facility that is being installed at 1833 South Coast Highway, also known as the where the wine shop is. First, I'd like to say that I appreciate the dialogue that I've had with many city employees around whether this constitutes an eligible facilities upgrade or not. While I continue to strongly disagree with them, I always appreciate constructive debate. What I would like to do this evening is to ask for council's help in understanding why this was administratively approved when Dish Wireless's own application makes it clear that it exceeds established guidelines for human exposure to radio frequency emissions. FCC is clear that there's no exclusion from the National Environmental Protection Act when a proposed installation will result in human exposure to RF emissions in excess of health and safety guidelines. While I'm not an expert in RF emissions, I do hope that someone on city staff is, and that they were consulted before this facility was administratively approved. Next slide. For context, I think it's important to compare the size of this facility to the existing T-Mobile facility that has been present on this building since 2008. Based on the application, the new Dish Wireless facility is approximately 420 square feet, or almost 4 times the size of the T-Mobile facility. Keep in mind, there's another AT&T facility that has been approved for this building and is in the process of being installed, and that too is 120 square feet. Why would Dish Wireless, a relatively new carrier that has less than 6% of the customers that T-Mobile has and less than 3% of the customers that AT&T has, need such a large facility? Next slide. As I mentioned earlier, Dish Wireless's own consultant estimates that this facility will generate 4,555% of the FCC's general public limit of RF emissions. I can only wait to see what the AT&T application to be publicly posted in order to understand what the combined impact of 3 facilities at this site will be. Next slide. There's a lot that I don't know when it comes to FCC regulations or understanding the science behind RF emissions. However, basic pattern recognition tells me that something looks very fishy. As a result, on behalf of all residents, I'm asking council to ensure that the city has a satisfactory answer to the following question. Why does a carrier with less than 2% of the market need a facility that is almost 4 times larger and emits 67 times more RF emissions than those facilities that are used by its much larger competitors? Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
And you tee up my, thank you.
Go ahead and put up Christy Miller's slide.
So I'm going to continue to elaborate on what my husband just brought to your attention. Again, this is the building, the corner of Pearl and Coast Highway. It's where the radio station and the wine gallery building is. Next. That's the view from our house. This is the view of the Dish Network building. Mark Weiner decided that it wasn't a substantial change, which according to FCC's definition, it checks 3 of the boxes when only 1 are required. So we actually don't agree with that completely. Or we don't agree with it at all. Next, please. This is a view from the roof of the building. The green is the T-Mobile site that was recently modified. The red is the Dish Network site that you can see is so much larger. And in case not even council knows, but there's an AT&T facility, though none of the information about this is on the city site under the address. There's no information, but I happened to see them, met with them yesterday, and they've already gotten approval and they're getting ready to install. They're just getting their permits. So of all the 3 main carriers, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, they're all currently up on the rooftops. All 3 are approximately 110 to 140 square feet. All 3 are approximately 3.5 feet high. They all comply with building heights. They all are camouflaged to match the building, and they are carefully located away from the view corridor so that you don't end up with the type of view that we're looking at. Next. Here's the comparison. The top one is the Dish Network. The bottom one is the T-Mobile that was recently updated. So they added 10 more feet and it became 5G. And that was staked and it was publicly noticed to residents. The large new one up there, no public notification, no staking, no communication whatsoever. We had no idea it was coming until they started installing it in December. Next, please. It's difficult to see, but this is an email that I received with the city attorney's position. When you look through this, it's very confusing with us. According to FCC's definition, it does check at least 3 of the boxes when only one's required. And the second statement gives a code, and it talks about the fact that there's no public notice or public hearing required. And in that's not the verbiage at all. What it actually says is that no public hearing is required unless after receiving notification, it's requested. When do we ever do something where we don't give any type of notification? But that's not at all specifically what it says. Next, please. I think we all hoped that when we brought in new city manager and new attorney that we were going to expect change and transparency. We sent a letter directly to the city manager. We didn't receive any reply. Instead, we received notification from Mark Weiner. They just talked about the city attorney's position. This should have gone through planning commission. It should have had the ability to have an open dialogue and communication, but that didn't happen. And I'm just asking you for transparency and intellectual honesty on it. Thank you very much for your time.
Anybody else, anything not on the agenda this evening? Okay, I'm going to go to the Zoom. We have some hands up here. Can somebody take that slide down? Okay, great.
We have 10 hands raised, Mayor.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, I'll get started. Jean Felder, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Mayor Kemp, this is Gene Felder. I live at 2680 Park Avenue. I'd like to address the city council as an individual. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I would like to encourage the city to enact policies limiting the distribution and consumption of alcohol in Laguna Beach. More than 140,000 people die from excessive alcohol use in the United States each year, approximately 97,000 male deaths and 43,000 female deaths. The major causes of alcohol-related death are alcohol poisoning, cancer, car accidents, heart failure, liver damage, and violence. Each year in the United States, there are 7,756 homicides attributable to alcohol, with 1,269 of these people younger than 21 years old. Alcohol is the most commonly reported drug used by homicide offenders. Laguna Beach has a high number of alcohol serving outlets. It also has a high number of drivers driving their automobiles under the influence of alcohol, many we never catch, and many that our police issue DUIs to. I've heard that Laguna Beach is #1 in the county for alcohol serving locations per capita, and also #1 in the county per capita for the number of DUIs issued. Is this correct? Please do not take steps fostering increased alcohol use, but rather institute policies limiting the distribution and consumption of alcohol in Laguna Beach. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gene.
Okay, next hand up, we have MJ Abraham. Go ahead, MJ.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and community. I'm MJ Abraham, founder of Laguna Beach Chat. A little history on Chat. It was created in 2016 to focus on City Hall accountability and transparency and city leadership. Back then, we had 4 candidates, Bob Whalen, you were one of them, running for office, and a couple of organizations in place like the Police Association and the Caretakers Village Laguna. Laguna was still a somewhat sleepy town then, but interest in public office has grown, as well as political action committees we call PACs. In 2018, we saw a record 13 candidates running for office with 5 PACs in place. In 2020, 5 candidates, 7 PACs. In 2022, 7 candidates, 15 registered PACs, albeit some were ballot measure related, and a few filed as inactive. This year, we currently have 2 new candidates and 2 potential incumbents and about 11 registered PACs still in place. We typically hold 8 or so public forums during election periods. So what does this tell us? That Laguna Beach has become a politically divided city. It also tells us that the public must pay attention to who is governing them, where their money and their interests are coming from, and if their interests are being protected. That's where Laguna Beach Chat comes in. We're information and fact-driven social media. We do not accept advertising or government monies or anything else, and we are not a PAC. We do welcome volunteer researchers and writers. We are a resource and a voice for Laguna Beach residents. Our purpose is to inform and educate on high impact issues and civic responsibilities, particularly when it comes to electing public officials. Our 2024 election coverage includes personal, professional, and campaign funding information on every candidate and performance pros and cons for our incumbents. We are live and updating weekly. This year, we added guest opinions. We want to hear from residents, businesses, and local experts, and those tired of being censored by our local medias on hot topics that affect us. We're adding podcasts as well, and we can't wait to interview vocal locals. Folks can find us at lagunabeachchat.com. We welcome letters to the publisher, media distribution needs. And as I said, we aren't beholden to anyone, we don't hold back, and we look forward to helping locals learn about their city and their electeds and to speak up when they have concerns. Thank you for your time.
Okay, next hand we have up is Ursula. Go ahead, Ursula. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Phenomenal. I just want to say how favorable I am of us working on the pools. I mean, even Auschwitz had working pools. Are we not as good as the Jews that Hitler so wonderfully removed from his country? I think that to not work on our pools is really to say that we're worse than them, and that's disgusting. I would like to not be beneath them in the social class. So, yeah, please work on the pools. Y'all have a great day.
Okay, next we have Bill Shaner. Go ahead, Bill, you can unmute yourself.
Good evening, City Council. Am I coming through all right?
Yes, you are.
Fantastic. I would just like, I know it's not a back and forth, but I would just like to ask the council if they could release a publication to let the public know about their dealings going on with the ADL, whether they've received any direction from them or any comment from them. Specifically because of the founding story of the Anti-Defamation League. I've recently just found this out myself, but the Anti-Defamation League was established in 1913, and it was in response to the murder and rape of a child by Leo Frank. He was a local pencil factory owner in Georgia in 1913, and Mary Fagan was one of his employees. And I know we didn't have the right child labor laws at the time. And she went to work to go and collect her paycheck to go and help put bread on the table for her family. Their family were going through some hard times. They sent their 13-year-old daughter out to work. And instead of paying Mary fairly for her work at the pencil factory, he went and bludgeoned her to death and raped her, not necessarily in that order. And it did go to trial in Georgia in 1913. All the jury members happened to be of the Jewish faith, which was a bit of a weird coincidence considering Leo Frank himself was Jewish, and they ended up throwing the entire case out. Now, this is in 1913 in the South. He also blamed the black janitor, Jim Conley, and all the locals in this notably racist historically area, as well as the Ku Klux Klan, weren't having it. They're like, no, this African-American janitor, Jim Conley, had nothing to do with this. It is obviously Leo Frank. So some mob justice happened. The town took care of Leo Frank and he was lynched. But the ADL was founded not to protect Jim Conley or to speak in favor of Mary Fagan. They were founded to protect this Jewish child murdering pedophile named Leo Frank. And why is this organization in charge of determining hate speech in America? Why are they training law enforcement members? You know, if you had an organization that was founded to protect a child raping pedophile in your neighborhood trying to speak at school boards and trying to tell you what you can and can't say, would you not be upset with that? If they were talking to your local city councils and councilors, trying to give them direction on how to monitor speech and on what people can and cannot say in a country where we have the First Amendment to protect our free speech, would that not be an issue, considering they're doing it not only locally, on state and federal level? It's disgusting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next speaker we have is Billy Pierce. Go ahead, Billy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, speak up, please, though.
Are these for items strictly on the agenda, or can we speak freely for public comment?
Yeah, these are items that are not on our agenda this evening, so anything else is fair game.
Okay, great. So in honor of Black History Month, I wanted to provide some information that might not be widely known about Mr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh, hey, excuse me. So actually, Black History Month is the first item on our consent calendar. We'll be getting to that after public comment. If you can just hang on and we'll get you back when that item is pulled.
Okay. All right. So next hand we have is
Wait, just a
Levi.
second. Just a second.
What do you want?
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Levi.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I have a speech here I want to read.
When the city government cuts off unpopular speech, they're setting the city up to be sued and held financially liable for First Amendment violations. A man in Los Angeles was awarded $215,000 for having his right to address the council cut off while wearing a KKK robe. Hopefully, these lawsuits will force city governments to honor the rights of the people. Regardless if you like the opinions of the public or not, you must let them share their statements. The Supreme Court has ruled that there are no hate speech exemptions for the First Amendment. A public forum cannot cut off speech that's offensive, hateful, racist, insulting, etc., as long as the comments are not threatening. You must let them have a voice. Restricting free speech is a dangerous path. Without the option, how else do you expect people to address their grievances? Doing so is a serious offense and disservice to the oath you took to benefit the city. I encourage everyone who's had their First Amendment cut off to file a lawsuit against the city. I've contacted legal counsel and will not stand for censoring legal speech. Just because a bunch of anti-American Jews want to tell us the truth doesn't mean we'll stay quiet. The people are waking up, and we know how these parasites operate. It's not a secret now that the Jews hate us, that they are the biggest racists while shouting, "Oy vey, that's anti-Semitism." They use the Justice Department to sick law enforcement on political opposition. They lie about the Holocaust to gaslight criticism of their sick practices. In their book, The Talmud, they advocate for the murder of us goy, and we're tired of it. Jews have been expelled from over 109 countries, and now it's obvious why. There exists no good Jew. They either openly follow their god Satan or are still in the closet about it. Every aspect of Judaism is satanic. Every aspect of racism is Jewish. Every part of the LGBT cult has Jewish roots. Why do so many of our politicians have dual citizenship with Israel? Why does a 2% minority hold the majority of political seats? Whenever Jews are allowed to hold power, they do nothing but destroy. You have to serve somebody, and you're either on the side of God or you follow the Jews to hell with their worship of money, hate, and pedophilia. Go to gtvflyers.com to learn more about the Jews. They're baby penis-sucking vampires. My message to the ADL and Jonathan Greenblatt listening is, we are everywhere. You will never stop us, no matter how much you whine and complain. You will never get away with your sick crimes against humanity. Us goy know about you. Why do we keep bending over backwards to import those that despise our very existence? Our homeless are left to die on our streets. People can't afford life-saving medications, but the government finds the money to offer gender-affirming care, put up asylum seekers in hotels, and give billions to Ukraine and Israel. We face discrimination, intimidation, and violence. Go to gtvflyers.com or goyimtv.tv. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next hand.
Wait,
Carol,
no.
Hold on just a second.
No, we're
Okay.
suspending public comment. We're not going to take anybody right now.
Madam Mayor, so a couple things. The Brown Act requires that we take public comment on items not on the agenda at the beginning of the meeting. That those comments have to relate to the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. And they also cannot disrupt the meeting. That being said, the First Amendment both in the United States Constitution and the California Constitution confer the people a right to free speech. And so there is, unfortunately, right now a trend at city meetings to what we call Zoom bomb, in effect to try to test the city government. And so to the extent that these comments start to get to the point of disrupting our meeting or without the subject matter jurisdiction, we can suspend comment. Otherwise, we unfortunately have to proceed with comment until they're over.
Okay, we're going to suspend public comment now. We'll take it at the end of the meeting, and we're going to proceed with our consent calendar.
Well, and just to be clear, that's because the agenda says that public comment is
Yeah,
only
public-
45 minutes.
yeah, the agenda
So
says
it's not because
30 to 45 minutes.
yeah.
We're at, almost 45 minutes. So that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, moving on. We have 4 items on the consent calendar this evening. And I am going to pull item number, oh yeah, council comments, that's right. I got thrown off my game here. Okay, council comments. I'm going to start first though with our city manager, Sean Joyce.
I would just underscore it is a trend. We're ready for it. It's regrettable. It's regrettable for us all. We're not going to take the bait. I don't have any other comment. Thank you, Mayor.
Sean, I just have a question for you. We had a comment from the woman about 517 Mystic. And the issue with the trees, I wonder if we could take a look at that.
We received an application today. We are processing it expeditiously for public safety, and we will make a determination and return as appropriate with a recommendation concerning the safety of all involved, concerning whether or not a tree or trees need to be replaced or removed.
Okay, thank you. I'll go to our city attorney, Megan Garibaldi.
No comment, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Wise.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have some comments. The American Association of University Women, a couple of their members asked me to say a few words about the passing of Marion Jacobs. She was a longtime, well-known resident of Laguna Beach, clinical psychologist, educator, and researcher. She made many contributions to our community, including her service on the board of the local community clinic, Mission Hospital Laguna Beach Advisory Committee, and is remembered by many for her service in the aftermath of the 1993 fire. She immediately established a psychology support group for survivors whose homes and all their possessions were destroyed. And for months afterwards, she gave her time and expertise to support those who were traumatized by their loss. And this was typical of Marion, who will be remembered by many Lagunans for her generosity in carrying outreach activities in our community. And she was a over 20-year member, 30-year member of the American Association of University Women. So I wanted to say that. On a personal note, I did want to mention that another prominent citizen, locally well-known, Norman Powell, died recently. He turned 90. And he was on the board of the Laguna Canyon Conservancy for many years, a longtime property owner and resident in Laguna Beach, active in Laguna Beach up to the very end at LCC and Suzy Q, the Garden Club, and others. Years ago, he was active in saving the Dana Point headlands and writing the element of a Laguna Beach general plan. He graduated from UCLA in 1959. UCLA Powell Library is named after his father. Longtime university librarian Lawrence Clark Powell. Powell's donation endowed the university librarian position, a dean level appointment. I wanted to make that statement. I also wanted to make a statement about litigation that's recently been settled. When mistakes are made, such as the city's recent $275,000 payment of a private individual and residents' legal fees in early February, it is admirable that our city attorney, Megan Garibaldi, mandated a new policy, a process to prevent such future errors like this from happening. I'm still puzzled, though, how the $275,000 plus $73,000 in legal fees for our own attorneys agreement was made to pay Mr. Michael Ray's legal fees with city money. It seems that some of the initial decisions occurred in 2020 before I was on council. I believe it's wrong for any resident of Laguna Beach to get such special treatment. We need to get to the bottom of how such an unusual deal was made that benefited Mr. Ray. Did the city manager approve this deal? Did the mayor approve it or have knowledge of it? How was this allowed to happen? It's $350,000 of taxpayer money. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Oracle.
Yeah, my condolences go out to Norman Powell, although I didn't know him. And Marion, I did know Marion, and I served on the board of the community clinic with her, and she was an amazing person. So I just wanted to state that. And I wanted to say congratulations to Visit Laguna for their successful Radical Origins preview at the Rivian Theater. It was quite a night. I think we had 400 people or so turn out for that. And it was just a lot of fun, and it was very, very well received. And I had a question for the city attorney, and she might have mentioned this last meeting, and I'm just need to clarify. Do we have a plan in place to keep the public updated on lawsuits going forward?
Councilmember Orgel, we don't have a we haven't adopted any specific plan. That being said, we've provided updates through TW2 in the past in order to provide information. And we certainly can continue to do so. The council would like a further plan, they can also certainly consider that.
Well, I appreciate Pat and his, curiosity monitoring these items, and I'll meet with him and see how he feels about things, and if, he seems to as though he's always looking for additional information and he's a bit at a loss. So I'll work that with him and report back. Thank you.
Councilmember Whalen,
Nothing this evening.
Councilmember Renag.
Yeah, so I did the last time we were here, I talked about doing the point in time count. So I did the point in time count at 4:30 a.m. at the end of January. And the most interesting part of that was the district attorney, and not a deputy district attorney, but the district attorney joined me, Todd Spitzer joined me on the point in time count. So it was a really good experience to see kind of at the ground level what's happening with our homeless population. We heard some comments, some horrible comments on the Zoom, and I think we all know the First Amendment protects everyone's right to speech, even hate speech. But we can add our voices to, obviously we know that those are not Laguna Beach values. What the comments that this is a place that is not only tolerant of diversity of all forms, but also embraces it. And I last week I attended the Fighting Anti-Semitism conference at UCI. There were cities from across the county there. And this is an alarming trend where we're seeing, especially in the wake of the October 7th attacks, we're seeing public meetings disrupted by anti-Semitic speakers, and that's what we just saw. So obviously they have a right to speak. That's what the First Amendment allows. But I think, we as Laguna Beach residents, we obviously we don't tolerate hate in Laguna Beach. So I think that's important, and especially in a time when since October 7th, I think it's been a more than 300% increase in hate crimes against Jewish people, which should concern everyone. So I think all of us up here feel the same way about this issue. But they have a right to speak, but we have a right to say what our values are. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. No report for me this evening. So now I am going to move on to the consent calendar.
Mayor, can I ask a question? I forgot about the wireless issues. Just a general question, if staff could answer it, anybody in staff. I understand the parameters of an expansion of a wireless facility has a certain percentage where if it goes over that, then the local jurisdiction can have some oversight. What is that percentage, and was it met in the case of the wireless facility that the Millers were talking about? Does anybody know? What's substantial?
It's an item that doesn't appear on the agenda this evening. I will be happy to meet with the Millers, with staff. I'm humbled by my acknowledged weaknesses. I'm not a planner. I work with planners. I provide direction to planners. I look forward to doing that and providing additional information along with our city attorney's office. I'd be more than happy to do that. But planning, I normally leave to the planners. And so I can't even make it up. I can't even fake great planning tonight, but I'd be happy to involve myself personally.
I appreciate it. Thank you. John.
Okay, moving on to the consent calendar, third time. Okay, we have 4 items. I'm going to pull number 2. Does anybody want to pull anything else from the council?
I have a question about number 4, but I don't really want to pull it. It's just a question.
Okay.
I'd ask the city
Okay.
attorney on the tolling agreement.
And I have a comment on 3. I don't really need to pull it, but I do
Okay.
want to make a comment on it.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll work our way through. Anybody from the public want to pull anything in the room here? Okay, no. Anybody, I see one hand online.
Yes, I have one hand online.
Okay.
Go ahead, Joy. What consent item would you like pulled?
Oh, thank you. The Laguna Beach Coalition for Environmental Protection is respectfully asking to pull item number 4 from the consent agenda. We would
Okay,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for 1?
Move the adoption of item 1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, okay.
Mike, you want me to go to 3?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do 3 and we'll do George's question 4.
Proclamation, Mayor?
Pardon?
Are you done the proclamation?
No,
Proclamation?
we're not doing it's just on consent.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on
All
consent.
right, thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and ask
So
your
I-
question on 3 and then we'll do George's on 4.
I really just had a question on 3, or maybe a request, I should say. So item 1, which is our, highest priority there on page 5 of the agenda report, is revenue enhancements. And it indicates that, the possibility of conducting a community survey in order to formulate a range of options, present to city council during upcoming meeting. I guess my request, because this would be time sensitive, if the council were going to move forward with it, you'd have to be proceeding kind of apace to get to a November election. So I guess my request of the city manager is it possible that you could bring something back on this survey issue at our next meeting on the February 27th? That would just be a request.
Without objections from the city council, we'd be happy to do that, but I'll defer to the balance of the council.
Everybody okay on that? Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need a vote, Megan? No, on that? No. Okay. Okay, is that it, Bob? Okay, can I get a motion on consent item 3 then?
Move approval.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
great. Okay, George, you had a question on 4?
Yeah, I think it's been pulled, so it'll be covered.
Okay. All right, I will go back to 2 then, and second here. Okay, the reason I pulled this item is we got, I don't know, 20 letters or something. And I think some people were just not understanding the intent of this agenda item, so I'm just going to frame it the way it's intended. First of all, this item is not a policy item. It's just recommending that Councilmember Orgill and I form an ad hoc committee. And the reason, what we're going to be doing is we're going to basically create, as we said in the previous council meeting, an all-inclusive plan. So it's, if you will, it's a project plan. And it'll include things like the scope, the schedule, key milestones, decision points, and things like that. We will have baked into that project plan, we will have, we are going to put a request out for a committee, and we are going to have public meetings on this topic, but it's going to be in the project plan document itself. So I just want to make that clear that this is not a policy issue on the promenade and what we are going to be, doing on this ad hoc committee. One other comment, somebody said something about, I don't remember who it was, about the promenade is going to be an alcohol street. That's not what was said. Questions were around from the press. I think it was Orange County Register was asking a question of me about, what would we do, theoretically or possibly in the promenade where restaurants are, would we have, roped off areas, or would we, what would we do? And I said, well, we have to see what the ABC says, because, I don't know what the boundary could be, the street, the boundary could be the restaurants. We don't know. And that's part of the things, one of the things that we'll be looking at on the ad hoc committee. So I just want to make that clear. With that, I will take public comment now on consent item 2. Anybody have any comment?
Thank you, Council. My name is Bill Hoffman. I'm a big supporter of the promenade. 2 years ago, the council voted for a permanent conversion of the promenade, and it's time that we move it along. With the temporary design, it's beautiful. At night, people love it. People are having coffee in the morning. They're sitting at the public areas, but it's not meant to be permanent. Also, Forest has beautiful dimensions for a promenade. When there were cars there, the diagonal parking was especially in the summer, it was quite disruptive. Several speakers, I remember a year ago, a very intelligent speaker said, great main streets have diagonal parking. And that's true with some, but Forest Avenue is too narrow for cars. So the previous speakers who want to bring cars back, I think the train has left the station or the cars have left the parking garage. And my last comment is, we're a beautiful town. We're a creative town. We can come up with a design that people love that can reflect our history and our environmentalism. And the previous design process, the meetings didn't go as planned. But I love this ad hoc committee idea of yours. It's going to bring people together and we can really make a design that we're proud of. So let's go forward, and I thank the council.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Good evening, Michelle Monda. The Indy had a poll this week, and I want to read the poll and I want to give you the results of the poll. Should the city seek more input from residents when it comes to future promenade plans on Forest Avenue? As of 4:10 this afternoon, it had 120 votes. 112, or 93.33% of those people responding said yes. 8 or 6.67% said no. So whether you believe in the poll or not, I actually tried to take the poll twice and you can't. So there's at least a very large number of people who want residents to have more input in this. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is you received 30 letters. Out of those 30 letters that the council received on this agenda item, only 2 said, great, go ahead, just gung-ho for it. Most of the other people in the rest of those 28 letters said the same thing. We want residents included in this process. Now, I was encouraged tonight, Sue, to say that you were going to include residents, but I want to make sure that you're going to do that because I kind of feel like Lucy in the football. You guys have promised things before, certainly about this promenade, and you've taken the football away when we get ready to kick. So I want to make absolutely certain that residents, and I don't mean just the residents who are for it. There's a whole spectrum of residents out there. I don't know how you're going to go about selecting it, but I think you need to be careful that if you go ahead and jam this down our throats in a way that we haven't had good input or good data. Alex, you say you're a data-driven guy. Well, where's the data on all this stuff? That's what I'd like to see. I want to see real reasons why we should be converting this street. Now, I also, in my letter to you, I wrote that in 2020, I stood here and I suggested we do this, but on a temporary basis. I had just come from Santa Ana and I've subsequently been to Carlsbad. They do a promenade, but on a temporary basis. They close it off at certain nights. I don't see why, and George has suggested this, why we can't come up with some kind of hybrid situation where we can still have our parking during the day and we can do all these fabulous fun things at night, because there are so many cool things that can be done with the promenade. I'm for the promenade, but I'm not for turning it into a permanent thing, and I'm not for taking down those beautiful trees, as I think most people are. So I would hope you would also consider a hybrid situation, because I think that's going to get more traction and more support than just forcing us to accept what you had previously come up with. So thank you.
Okay, anybody else in the room want to speak on this item?
I'm in 52 years I've ever spoke here. Scary. My name is Lou Moss, long-term resident of Laguna Beach, over 54 years. Why the hell do we still have to have parklets 3 years after the COVID? You look at Broadway as an ocean. I've lived here long enough and gone downtown enough times. I very rarely see any of those parklets being used at all. Even the ones on Forest are used very rarely until the late afternoon, early evening. I totally concur with the lady who just spoke that we should definitely have input in this. It's ridiculous. And by the way, I don't know if any of you were here when we had the Oktoberfest many years ago in town. And for the first couple of years, it was a delightful experience. A lot of the local families got together with their kids. They had some bands and all that. After about 2 or 3 years of the Oktoberfest, all hell broke loose because of alcohol abuse. And alcohol abuse led to many more arrests, injuries, etc. I happen to be an addiction specialist as well, an ER doc. I've seen too much of that crap going on. And the last place I want to see it happen is in our town. So please reconsider the long-term effect of a promenade when it should have been temporary to begin with. And for some reason, it just keeps going on and on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to, my name is Chris Katsoumanis, Mayor. I would like to speak about the agenda item number 2, and I call it deja vu all over again. Why the sudden rush to take a task that legitimately was in the purview of the Planning Commission and hand it over to you, Mayor Kemp? In my opinion, were you not going to get the unanimous approval, perhaps a rejection of your plan to destroy the decades-old trees on Lower Forest and more? So a plan was hatched, I believe, to make sure that your majority in the council would get the answer you wanted. If anyone believes that a mayor leading a staff will get the staff's opinion that are not biased by what the mayor wants, I've got a good deal on a bridge. We only have to look at the memorandum of understanding, hopefully ill-fated understanding, on the lease with the Presbyterian Church to see what happened. You, Mayor Whalen, or ex-Mayor Whalen, chose Sheree, the acting city manager, the assistant city manager, and Blake. You could not have possibly, chosen a worse team to give the city a good deal, because both of them had vested interest to do exactly what needed to be done, for you. So now we have it that, and Mayor Kemp, if you were misquoted, when I see a retraction from the OC Register, I will believe it. But absent that, I have to believe that opinion. But in my opinion, then that questions your qualifications to be on the on the committee. It's just, it's kind of maddening what's going on here. And as far as the promenade, if there is, what's going to happen is Tony Eisman is the Cassandra on this deal. Cassandra, as you remember, was King Priam's daughter, who was cursed by Zeus to tell the truth and nobody would believe her. 2 or 3 years ago, she said the promenade will turn into all restaurants, and that's exactly what's happening. And these restaurants will come in, they will get this restaurant license with no liquor license, and then right soon thereafter, go in and get a liquor license. So you're going to have a ring of liquor licenses there, and the promenade will be full of drunks. And once it gets that reputation, it will be darn hard to change. So you've ruined a good shopping place for the residents that have gone there for years, and you're turning it over to the mobs. Thank you.
Wait till they're done talking. There, wait. Hello, Mayor and Council. I just want to express my strong support for the process of making the long overdue promenade permanent. You should not let a few a minor number of people that are very vocal disrupt the process. The promenade's wildly popular. There's no question about that. I don't think that people want to return to a dark, vacant space in the evenings. As a influential local visionary Jim Delly believed, if we can get the cars out of downtown and stop the constant cycle of cars circling in search of parking, good things will come. Please take an important step to minimize traffic and the lonely dark space it was in the evenings, if you remember way back, by approving the permanent design. I support this process. Don't let a very vocal minority disrupt this process. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Roger. Anybody else in the chamber want to talk on this item? Okay, no. Okay, we have some hands on the Zoom. Cheryl?
Sorry, I was on mute. Okay, Allison King, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Sorry, I didn't mean to have my hand up.
Okay, I will
thank you.
I'll mute you. Thank you. Okay, Jacob Cherub, go ahead.
Hello, everyone.
the speaker that was just before me said, don't listen to the vocal people. There were dozens of people that wrote letters, and two that were against, were in favor of the ad hoc proposal, and 28 who were asking for direct involvement of the residents of town. I'm going to ask you to make any changes that are going to happen there de novo. This has been a problem that has surfaced again and again at each stage. And what began as a generous offering to restaurants here in town to provide parking, patrons to sit outside because of COVID. And I think everyone in town was in favor of it. This was years ago. We have spent countless amounts of money. I think that we need a de novo process. We need to start with what the concept is going to be there. This began, as I've said before, with a survey that was done that also had faults with it at the time. But in that survey, there was a 9-word question about a walking space downtown. And from that, it's morphed into something that has benefited very few retailers. In fact, it's harming retailers that are now coming to say how it's harmed them. Why have an ad hoc? Why not put together a plan? And by the way, why this is being handled by Public Works beyond the tenure of our now departed city manager, whose forte was Public Works. Now that she's gone, this should go right into planning. This should be done by people who are involved in these kinds of projects, not the kinds of things that Public Works are involved in, such as sewers and curbs and all these kinds of things. So we need to start from the beginning. This has been an unsatisfactory process, going inch by inch by inch, and now we need to go back to square one. It's unsatisfactory. Please do that. Please bring the talented people of the town into the process. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Next hand is Mark Christie. Go ahead, Mark. You can unmute yourself.
Done involved in these kinds of projects, not the kinds of things that Public Works are involved in, such as sewers.
Mark, I think you need to mute your computer or your TV.
I just did.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
This factory process.
Oh, there we go again.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Hey, Mark, we're still hearing some of the previous speak. I mean, we're hearing something I don't think we're supposed to.
Okay, I'll totally mute it when I get there. When I'm up.
Okay.
You're actually up, Mark.
Okay, let's go. Hello, council. My name is Mark Christie, and I am a very, very passionate lifetime Laguna Beach resident. I own 3 buildings and 2 businesses in the first block of the Forest Avenue. And I am very, very supportive of the permanent closure and promenade. I hear people talking about retailers, where their business is off or whatever, but I think I'm one of very few, if any others, that have empirical data on same store sales since the promenade has been, was closed. And I have other stores in Dana Point and San Clemente, so I could do door over door sales, with the only variable being the promenade in Laguna Beach. And I can tell you the Laguna Beach stores did very well, better than the rest of the stores. Having said that, I certainly understand the hesitation of many of the fellow citizens, because I agree, if it's done half baked, it would be horrific. But if done properly, I think it could be an amazing and authentic part of this town that we all love so much. Keep in mind, a majority of Laguna was originally opposed for quite some time to Main Beach Park, the creation of Main Beach Park. But the park was really carefully conceived and designed and has now become a source of pride and recreation for the majority of people in this town. So with that in mind, we have to devote the same careful focus to the promenade. I think that it should retain all or most of the existing mature trees. I personally foresee, having a Laguna Beach Walk of Fame honoring James Dilley and Eiler Larson and Hobie Alter and Lorna Mills from Laguna Federal Savings, the first female bank president in America. This has to be for the benefit of every citizen and not favor just the existing restaurants. And perhaps, to be determined, maybe there is no alcohol outside the restaurants at all, unless it can be done properly and carefully. In 10 years, the thing should look like it's been here for 80 years, much like Main Beach Park. It should look like an original element of this town. I don't think it should have any fenced areas or any tents for the restaurants. It has to be for the public, the citizenry. It should feel somewhat random and it has to feel organic. It can and will be a source of pride and a place where we would gather as locals if done properly. As I said before, I'm a lifetime resident whose primary mission is to leave this town, this little campsite of ours, cleaner than I found it. I'm here to help in any way, shape, and form if needed. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Okay, next hand we have is Tony Fish. Go ahead, Tony. You can unmute yourself.
Good evening, everybody. Hey, thanks, Mark. Agree. I mean, this promenade concept really could be great. World-class promenades work well. 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica is really a lot of fun. But Laguna Beach has more places to buy alcohol than any matching size city in California. We have over 130 bars and restaurants sharing about 160 alcoholic beverage control licenses as of 23 statistics. We've got the highest number of DUIs per capita among 101 cities closest in population in California. Someone jokingly said, well, maybe it wasn't a joke. Yeah, love the idea of one big bar. Can you imagine folks in their 20s, even 30s, in another city on Friday or Saturday saying, hey, man, what do you want to do tonight? Somebody says, let's go to Laguna and get drunk. People can come to our city. They don't necessarily have to buy liquor in a promenade facility. They could bring it in a backpack, get hammered, and just hang out. I don't think that's what we want, and I don't think that's what the mayor really wants. Let's make it world class, but we're not a sideshow. We have alcoholism in the city that people struggle with every day. It's nothing that we should laugh about, encourage, and look at it as a quality way of life.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next hand we have up is John Thomas. Go ahead, John.
Hi, this may be my shortest public comment ever, although I think I did a haiku once. My question is just item 3 is conclude the work of the Planning Commission Promenade Ad Hoc Committee. And I'm curious why you are doing that. That's a very, I think, very well qualified subcommittee. And I would think this subcommittee would benefit from input from that subcommittee. Although, I don't know, maybe you got Brown Act problems or something. But anyway, that's it. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, thanks, John.
Okay, phone number ending in 5188, star 6 to unmute yourself, 5188.
Ann Kane, President of Village Laguna. Thank you, Mayor, for clarifying how you see the ad hoc committee operating, and we also support Mark's comments. Laguna Beach is full of smart, creative people who want to be involved from the beginning of this project. In order to give many of us confidence that we will be included, we request that you add to who you will be working with residents and business owners so that we can all feel confident that we'll be included. Thank you.
Thanks, Ann.
Okay. Okay, next hand we have up is Billy Pierce. Go ahead, Billy. Okay, next hand is Rex Uden.
Good evening, City Council. Am I coming through all right?
Yes, you are.
All righty. My name is Rex Uden. I've lived in Laguna Beach for about 14 years now. I would just say that I am very opposed to, we don't need more places to get drunk, especially when, all these beaners that we're getting flooded with and the North American pavement ape can't handle their liquor. It's just going to make them more violent and they're going to lash out. It's going to be more crime.
Madam Mayor, just to be
Going on
clear,
or-
this item is only related to the appointment of an ad hoc committee for the promenade. And so we ask all speakers to speak only to the agenda item.
They
Would
got
you like,
to talk about who's getting drunk and how many DUIs and what stores do good, but I'm the only person that gets singled out, and then you interrupt me and tell me that I'm off topic. That's kind of weird, don't you think? Okay. Well, in that case, I don't like the ad hoc committee. I don't really think that any of you kike loving faggots should be running our country. Our cities, you shouldn't be governing over us, because this is a place for European Americans.
Okay, we're gonna.
But are you gonna interrupt me again?
Madam
Yes,
Mayor,
yes.
we're going to pause the timer here for a second.
What
As we-
you can't say.
We're gonna pause the timer. As we have speakers that continue to use profane and hateful language and make statements that we believe have no place in civilized society, we at the same time recognize that both the Brown Act and the First Amendment have regulations that allow for free speech. This is frustrating for the council. This is frustrating for the community. This is not something that it is embarrassing for us. That being said, anyone in this room that's listening right now, if you're offended, you're welcome to go outside and wait for these comments to end, and we will come get you. Anyone that is online, you can feel free to turn down your speakers until this is finished. And we will when this item is concluded, we will make an announcement. We will have the mayor, zoom in on the mayor or something to give you a visual effect. So we're going to give a minute for the room to clear, and then we're going to finish the timer for the speakers. Madam Mayor, should we restart or finish the timer?
Okay, Rex, you may continue.
All righty. Can I get a clear-cut definition of profanity? because I can refrain.
Can we get the timer going?
Yeah.
It'll start where it stopped as soon as.
Okay, well,
He can say
'Cause,
what.
like
he
kike
wants,
is kike is just Yiddish for circle.
your time is running.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I don't trust this governing body here to represent the citizens of Laguna Beach's best interest. It seems like they're a bunch of self-serving, what can I say, kosher files that will just do whatever the hook nose comes in and tells them to do. I believe I'm not being profane. Alcohol is, alcohol along with all other manners of vice like gambling, tobacco, pornography is all ran by the nose that hooks. And so the city, by wanting to turn the promenade into some drunken free-for-all, is just gonna, what are you gonna do? Try to get more white women to miscegenate and to race mix, so that way there's just no European Americans left. The Jew has it's like the Jewish wet dream, I've heard it called before, where it's just chaos in the cities, Browns running amok, doing whatever, all drunk. I didn't sign up for this. My ancestors died to conquer this land, and I'll be damned if I let a bunch of kiked out, nigger loving faggots just continue on destroying this place, letting the immigrants just pile on in and do absolutely nothing while you just sit around and collect your shekels and be a good little Shabbos. So I'm sorry if my language, I'm not sorry if I offended somebody tonight. I just want to say nigger, nigger, white power, hail Hitler. He did nothing wrong. The Holocaust didn't happen. Jews suck baby dick. Matzitza bapa. Look it up. NYC.gov. Oral suctioning. Rabbis literally suck baby dick.
This is no longer relevant.
Fuck you, nigger!
Next hand we have is Fred.
What, we just take a break.
You want to? Yeah, we can take a recess. Yep. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We're gonna trail items 3 and 4, which means we'll take them later in the meeting. And we're gonna start with interviews and appointments. This is item 5 through 10. And so we're gonna take, anybody have public comment on any of this public comment?
Madam Mayor, we're going to trail 2 as well.
We're gonna,
in the
oh,
middle.
we're
Yeah.
still working on 2. Yeah,
2,
we're
2,
gonna
3,
trail
4.
2, 3, and 4. Yeah, that's right. So we're gonna take now interviews and appointments, item 5 through 10. So anybody have any public comment? This is not for the applicants. Anybody has any comments now on items 5 through 10? Go ahead. Cheryl? I'm gonna open the public hearing.
Items 5 through 10. Okay. We have the first one is Billy Pierce. Go ahead, Billy.
We're
You
gonna
can
have,
unmute yourself.
we'll have 1 minute. We're kind of running behind here. We're gonna have 1 minute for public comment.
Billy Pierce, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I just want to tell all of you guys who are in the background sucking Jonathan Greenblatt's dick, fuck the ADL, fuck the Jews.
This is, you have to speak only to the agenda items. The only things are the appointments of the candidates for the listed committees on the
I'll
agenda.
speak on whatever I want because you guys silence me.
You cannot speak under the Brown Act. You can, on agenda matters, you're only allowed to speak to the agenda matter.
Go ahead, Billy Pierce, if you want to speak to the agenda matter.
You guys moved me earlier when you told me I could speak on a certain agenda item and then you fucking trailed it until later. You guys are haters of free speech. You guys are canceling your meeting to go in the background and call your fucking ADL.
I think actually, didn't you want to speak on Black History Month, and didn't we approve that? So I think you missed your opportunity for comment there. So we'll go on to the next speaker.
Okay, next one is Fred. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Fred Leuchter. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. So actually, I did want to touch on that, and I would ask the lawyer to say that I am speaking on the topic, and I'll phrase this. I think that everybody who's being appointed, that they should swear an oath to respect free speech, not just the oath of office that they have to take. They should swear an oath rejecting the ADL, the evil ADL, and John Greenblatt, and protect free speech. Thank you. 30 seconds. So that last speaker, I think everyone should who's being appointed should apologize to that last speaker and realize that you did just violate the Brown Act. Your Black History Month means nothing. And I think we should all agree to that. You're Black because you didn't let the public speak. Your Black History Month is null and void, just like all those niggers.
Okay, next speaker is Rudy Hess. Go ahead, Rudy.
Hi there. Am I coming through all right? My name's Rudy Hess.
Go ahead.
Okay, fantastic. I'd like to talk about the council appointments. I would like the council actually to make an amendment and potentially even pass a resolution disavowing anyone who's being appointed to public office in any way, shape, or form in the city of Laguna Beach to not be allowed to have a dual citizenship with any other nation. I think that if you're going to represent the public, you need to represent Americans and not represent other nations' interests. And, you know, inside of that, I'd also like to speak about one small thing is still related to the council members. I would, in addition to that, like them to go ahead and maybe table or pass a resolution calling for the abolishment of the illegitimate state of Israel, since it was founded on stolen land in 1947. Fuck niggers, fuck Jews, Heil Hitler, white power.
Okay, next hand we have is Zyke Lomby. Go ahead, Zyke.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm. I wanted to speak on the promenade, but I think it's illegal for you guys to table that while public comment was still open. correct me if I'm wrong, city attorney. You guys,
That is wrong. The mayor and the city council have the discretion to move the agenda around. They have done that in order to conduct the city's business related to the other items on this agenda. So please speak
Well-
only to items 5 through 10 on the agenda.
well, you could move them around, but once you've opened public comment, you have to finish public comment.
The Brown Act requires that public comment be taken before action of the city council. The city council has not taken action on the promenade item.
Okay, well then I'll just speak on the other items. I agree with some of the last callers. I think that we shouldn't appoint anybody that is brown or Jewish because they don't belong here in our country. So if we can swear in, white people like that founded this country, that would be great because all these niggers and kikes just keep taking over and I'm getting quite sick of it, if you ask me. So, you guys could take another recess or whatever you want and the Goyim know, and we'll just keep coming back. Fuck niggers, fuck Jews. Heil Hitler. White power.
Okay, next hand we have up is Mitzi. Go ahead, Mitzi.
Hi, my goodness. I want to talk about the council members you'll be appointing. I think one thing that we really need to worry about when it comes to who we're appointing is making sure that those people aren't just going to be licking the taints of their local rabbi. I think that you need to have everyone that your constituents in mind, but most importantly, your white constituents. I mean, let's just be honest, the angry white goyim are the worst people that you could fuck off. I mean, we're not like niggers, we're not going to burn stuff down, but we do have voices and they tend to be louder than the kikes, the niggers, the faggots, all those sorts of
You
disgusting
need to
creatures.
speak to the agenda item only.
Yeah, no, I got you, bub. I got you, bub. I just want to say nigger, white power. Highly.
Okay, next hand we have up is Gabe. Go ahead, Gabe.
Hi, Council. Gabe Stotman here. I just want to reiterate what the other caller said. We need to make sure that we're not appointing any Jewish people.
That's
These
not
people have been
helping.
kicked out of over 109 countries, over 1,000 times. They're a tribe, basically. All they do is look out for each other, subvert their host nation in their plan for world domination through globalism. You can check out Europa, the last battle.net for more information.
Okay, next hand we have is Travis.
Yeah, these made up names, they're not even names.
Okay, Travis is not speaking. So I'll go to the next one. Next hand we have is Addie.
Eichmann, right? They're not safe.
Hi there. My name is Addie Eichmann. Wow, it's been quite the evening. I've been in here for quite a while. We're speaking on items 5 through 10, correct? Can I get a confirmation just so I'm not out of order, if you don't mind?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to say that I'm speaking with the council member additions. I think that we shouldn't allow any council members who've had mitzvah b'peh performed on them or who support mitzvah b'peh, which is the oral rape of a male child on the 8th day, where they put their mouths in the child's genitals and suck the blood like some sort of baby penis sucking vampire. I
This
think
is
that
not
that
relevant
practice is
to the-
reprehensible. No, pedophilia is reprehensible. I would like
This
the
is
city council
not
to agree on
relevant
that.
to the subject matter of
Fuck
the
Nick.
item.
I thought the Brown Act said if it was disruptive, you could stop them.
Okay, next hand is Andy.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. We can hear
Can
you.
you tell that old hag in the background to shut the fuck up?
I think this
Can
is
you?
disruptive.
It's not disruptive. If I was a libtard and I wanted to talk about castrating children, you'd be all for it. So how about you shut the fuck up, you fucking kike, and go back to Israel? All right. Good. She's being quiet. I have a thing to say. What is a woman? Cambridge Dictionary says a woman's an adult female being. Does taking hormone blocker make you a woman? Does castrating yourself make you a woman? Does dressing up as a woman make you a woman? Does believing you're a woman make you a woman? No, all these things just make you a mentally ill man. It's wrong for society to cater to the seriously mentally ill. You can go to gtdflyers.com or goemtv.tv and learn more about the Jews. They're baby penis sucking vampires. Only two genders exist, and no amount of tantrums will change that. Sometimes the truth hurts, and you need to hear it. Fuck the ADL. Fuck Jonathan Greenblatt. White fucking power.
Okay, next hand up.
Okay, we're
is-
going to adjourn the meeting for this evening, and we'll be renoticing the meeting for a future date.
Nigger, white power, bitch.
Please
Fucking end your meeting.
You want to